AI editing has just evolved. Luminar Neo released a big update called the Fall Update, and it gives us a lot of amazing things to look forward to. Of course, I'm going to cover every aspect of the update and what you can expect to see in the update, but I'm going to do it across 2 videos. And this is because in this video, we are only going to be looking at color transfer because it is that epic that it deserves a video by itself. But in the next video, we will be looking at smart search, color masking, improvements on generative tools. This is Gen Erase, Gen Swap, and so on. The new film strip in the Edit tab, and lastly, the improved catalog navigation. But on to the star of the show, color transfer. Have you ever seen tones and a mood in one image that you wish you could transfer to another image? Further, have you taken a series of images where the lighting changed by accident or on purpose, but the tonality of the images changed or adjusted retrospectively? Or lastly, have you always wanted to try and replicate some of the work of your favorite photographers? This is what color transfer does. In a nutshell, what color transfer does is it uses the built-in AI inside the program and analyzes the image you're trying to replicate and then translates that onto the image that you're working on. It's literally as simple as that. Now, before we jump into the tutorial, note that you do need to have some practicality behind it. For example, trying to transfer the colors from an image of a night sky into an ice cream in the park may not be the best use of the application. But seeing it is the best way to understand it, so let's hop to it. Okay, we are going to be looking at color transfer in isolation. Why? Because it's probably the coolest feature that has appeared on the full update. And I really want to focus on this alone, as mentioned in the beginning of the video. Now, what I've done is I've actually pre-prepared a folder of photos. So what we're going to do is we're going to add all of those photos. They'll be on my desktop, and we're going to bring all of those images in. So these are some images that I've done on past projects or at photo shoots or at events. So I've brought a couple of examples in through so that we have different color palettes that we can work from. The best way to actually describe how color transfer works is to actually show you, but to give you a brief explanation is basically you're using the tone of one image and transferring it to another. So this could be to make one image that you may see look like your own, or actually bring that in so that your own image looks similar to that. You can also use old pictures as a reference to basically match the styling and the tone of those images. So what we're going to do is we are going to open one with a lot of sky. So let's double click on that. We will go to edit, and then we are going to go straight down to color transfer. Now, when you open color transfer, it's going to say, okay, what reference image do you want? Now we have to push the plus over here, and we can choose from the images that we brought in. So if I wanted to bring in something, I don't know, retro, let's say that we want to use this Nikon event because I really like the colors. I don't know what this is going to do. This is the first time that I'm doing this, but let's bring this in. Now we can see that it's brought in those dark blues. Doesn't really work with this image, and we can adjust the intensity of that, but this is the wrong kind of image to use as a reference. So we're going to Control Z out of this. However, this is an image of Table Mountain, and we can bring in something of the Cirrus Mountain. So we've got this image as a reference, and this is loading in, and you can see through the AI, it's applying the color transfer. So we can see that's a more realistic transfer of color. However, let's Control Z out of that. If you've seen an image that you really like and it's similar to your image and you want to bring in those tones, you can literally just go to Google or where the image was and bring it in. Now, there's a couple of ways to do this. Now, the first thing is you need to make sure that the image that you're bringing in is going to be a actual JPEG or PNG, an image like that. Web transfers can't work. So for example, if we go into this and we say save image as, it's not going to work because it's a web transfer. However, there is a little shortcut, but the color accuracy isn't going to be as great. We can go into that image, and what we can do is, let's see if we can find a bigger style of this image. I'll actually just go into images here and click on that image. Now we can see that the original file size is actually quite large, but they put it in a format that cannot be copied. Again, if I save that image, it's going to be a web file. So if I want to open it again, it's actually just going to launch me to that website. We don't want that. Now we can see that it's shrunk again. So what we're going to do is we're going to go to this image, and we are just going to do the snipping tool. If you're on Windows, I'm not sure what the Mac equivalent is. However, someone in the comments might be nice enough to actually put that in. So we're going to snip those over there. We don't want to capture anything like the writing or that image icon over there. We just want to make sure that we are capturing the actual image. Now, again, this is not the perfect way to do this, but we do now have a color palette reference. So we're going to save this as desktop, and we're going to say this is sunset reference 1. Now, if we go into the image, we're going to say plus, and we are going to go to the desktop and we are going to say sunset reference 1. Now that's going to apply the color transfer. And we can see it's brought in those nice dark tones from the image. We can also adjust the intensity to make it more like the sunset. It's a little bit more dusky here, so you are going to have to play around with that, but we do see those tones coming naturally through. The preset is at 60, the color intensity preset 100, the luminosity intensity default at 100, the transitioning smoothing 75, and color smoothing 30. We can, however, select on match similar objects. Now this will apply the color transfer again and adjust the image. Now this is going to make sure that it looks for more sky to sky.
2,000 years later.
Now note that this does take a long time because it is using AI in order to basically match object for object, and we will see certain errors that do tend to crop by because in that image we had no buildings, we actually had a lake with a sky, so the more similar the better. But if you do have a car versus a car, that is going to pick up. So what we're going to do is we're actually going to start over again. We're going to Control Z out of that in order to have our original image. There it is. But we're actually going to say, no, we don't want that one. Let's go back to our catalog and actually use a real life example. Okay, now we have a real life example. That is me. I was doing a video for Rode on sound. Now we can see this is more of a restaurant-y lifestyle vibe. So if I was looking on the internet as an example and we say, I want to emanate that. So let's say that we want to find a model in a restaurant, because who doesn't want to be a model? Now we can see that this is similar-ish. This was shot with a different lens, so we can see different depth of field, but this could be a good image. But I'm going to try find something a little bit more applicable, and more applicable, well, it would be great, but let's see what we can find. Now, this would be a perfect image, except we got watermarks all over there, so I wouldn't encourage using that one.
One eternity later.
Okay, I think I've finally found the image after going through male and female models, but let's look at what this image does. So we're gonna save this image as, hopefully we're gonna get, nope, we got an AVIF. So we're gonna need to use the same trick and go snipping tool, and snip this one out. Now I want to darken the outsides. So this is what I'm anticipating the AI is going to do. So let's go into the edits, let's go into color transfer, and let's reference a image over there that we've selected and bring that in. Now that has darkened it to quite a degree, which is actually nice, but we do see a little bit of flaying on the edges there where it's not as, call it, perfect as it was. What we can do to check what the difference is just go to the compare icon and actually just bring that there to my nose. And we can see that we've got darker mooding on this, which I really like. And over there, it actually is a little bit out of focus. So the AI did quite a good job there. But this, call it, way more happy with. And let's see what'll happen if we go match similar objects colors. Now this might take a while. Okay, I see what it's done, but let's go to compare so that we can see a side by side. Now what we can see is it's matched tone a little bit more. Now in order to actually show you this, what we're going to do is we're going to open up that image. So there, as we can see, it's tried to match that mood from that image. If we take this to full, I actually preferred it without similar objects colors. So let's revert to that. And if we push on the eye to see what it looked like before and after, we can see the tonality or the mood has matched. Now there are much better examples of this, and this is obviously different sets. So you can imagine if you're a photographer that's taken photos the entire day, and want to actually match the lighting at a certain time, this becomes immensely powerful for you to do. Also, the ability to adjust the intensity. Obviously, if I do that, it's just going to bring down the lighting a lot more because it's trying to match the lighting. The color intensity, we can obviously adjust there. The luminescence, we can adjust, but that's going to kind of defy the point of what we were trying to do with that image. Maybe if we actually go to 70, it matches that a little bit more. Color smoothing, we can bring a little bit up to 70, and we can do masking on this as well. So we can brush my face on that masking and see what that does. So we can adjust the size of that, and we can adjust the softness of that as well. Now what we can do is we can actually go on to the borders. Now what this is going to do is it's going to undo everything that you did in that image. Now we only want to capture the face here. We don't want to adjust the eyes too much. We can do those brows over there. So you can actually match the tonality of specific elements within inside a picture. So now if we scroll out, we see that I've got a darker tone. And if we look at what this looked like before and after, let's go there and we can see it's a little bit not perfect because of the way that I've done that. So if I actually see the lines, we can Alt Z and actually make the size a little bit smaller, scroll in even more, and just paint the outside. And there we have it. I've given myself a little bit darker tone, and that's completely unnatural, but we can see how that's actually worked. Let's try and smooth that out a little bit. We can see how that's now toned my face a little bit more. And if we see what the before and after does, it does actually look more natural than it was before, almost looking like I have a shade over my face or shade being cast over my face, but it does look a little bit unnatural here without the neck being done. So we're just going to do that and scroll out. And we've got more of a natural image that's trying to bring out the tones from there. Now to show you a couple of quick examples, we can just do side by sides where we can select something like a mountain. We're going to select that image and we're going to go on to the edit. Now there are presets that you can choose from in color transfer. So you can say, okay, what do I want to emanate? Now let's see this over here where we do have sky and we do have a mountain. So this is a perfect image to actually use as a reference. We'll click on that and it will apply this. Now it's applied that, and if we look at before and after, look at that. It is an amazing transfer of the colors. We have got nice dark rocks here and it really brings out some body in this image. So again, it is a massively powerful tool. You just need to know how to use it properly. And if you do know how to use it properly and you do master it, you can create some amazing imagery from this. Let's try give you another example. If we go and select something like this over here, where we've got some vine leaves, and we go on to the presets. Now remember, you can bring in as many presets as you want. So we don't want relight, we want color transfer. And let's say that we want to create that kind of misty type feeling. We can click on that, and that's pistachio green. So now this is going to apply this to this pistachio green, and we can see just how amazing this AI transfer is if we look at the before and after. And we can also obviously go and compare it side by side. Now, obviously the left might be better than the right, depending on the type of image that you're going for. Obviously, we can show you the full look of that. Obviously, I think that the primary image is better, but that's not the point. Let's change this to something a little bit more green. And this is a tropical landscape, which might complement this image a little bit more. And we can see there, it even brings out the sharpness of that image. So if we look at this, and if we take off that completely and go to the before and after, it's toned everything so much better. The roof actually looks more realistic than it did in the actual image, and the sharpness around the leaves are brought out, and we can see nice vivid colors coming from this image. So again, an absolute wow factor from this color transfer.
And that's it. I was blown away by this functionality, and it's honestly something that I'm already incorporating into my image, as it's massively powerful. Next time, we're going to be looking at the other updates, of which color masking in layers
was almost due a tutorial by itself, as it tends to get really technical and for me was slightly annoying until you actually master it. But let's look forward to that one on the next one. Thanks guys, cheers, goodbye.